Discipline will give you a life that motivation can't. Lesson 1. The strange secret of achievement. There exists a secret so powerful yet so simple that it has transformed ordinary lives into extraordinary ones throughout history. This secret isn't hidden in ancient texts or guarded by mysterious orders. It's hiding in plain sight, available to anyone willing to recognize and apply it. The strange secret is this: we become what we think about. Consider the farmer who plants a seed in fertile soil. That seed doesn't immediately question its purpose or wonder if it should grow. It simply follows the natural law of growth. Your mind works in precisely the same way. Whatever thoughts you plant and nurture will inevitably grow into the reality of your life. What separates those who achieve from those who merely dream is discipline. Motivation may plant the seed, but only discipline waters it daily until harvest. The disciplined mind transforms fleeting inspiration into permanent reality through consistent, focused attention. Most people fail before they begin because they lack this mental discipline. They allow their thoughts to wander aimlessly from desire to doubt, from confidence to fear. Their mental garden becomes overrun with weeds of negativity and inconsistency. I recall a young woman named Sarah who worked as a bank teller. While her colleagues complained about their circumstances, Sarah disciplined her thoughts to focus on learning every aspect of banking. She thought consistently about advancement, studied financial systems after hours, and imagined herself in leadership. Within 5 years, she managed her own branch. Within 10, she served as regional director. Her circumstances didn't make her successful. Her disciplined thinking did. The most important battlefield you'll ever encounter is the 6-inch battlefield between your ears. Every achievement, every failure, every joy, and every disappointment begins as a thought that you either discipline or neglect. Consider the case of Thomas, who transformed himself from an overweight, unhealthy man into a marathon runner. His success didn't come from sporadic bursts of motivation. It came from disciplining his thoughts daily to see himself as an athlete, making choices aligned with that identity, regardless of how he felt on any given day. This strange secret operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 plus 2 always equals 4, disciplined thoughts focused on specific achievement always produce corresponding results. The law works whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not. Your thoughts are like a steering wheel determining your life's direction. Most people let their thoughts spin randomly, then wonder why they never reach their destination. The disciplined thinker grips the wheel firmly, making constant small adjustments toward their chosen outcome. When you discipline your mind to focus exclusively on what you want to become, you activate forces both within and around you that begin moving you toward those very things. Opportunities appear that were always there but previously invisible to your undisciplined mind. The choice is always yours. Your thoughts can be disciplined servants that build your dreams or undisciplined masters that construct your limitations. The quality of your life will always reflect the quality of your thinking. This strange secret of achievement isn't strange at all. It's simply the natural law of the mind that rewards discipline and punishes its absence. Lesson 2. Why motivation fails but discipline prevails. Motivation is like a warm shower on a cold morning. It feels wonderful while you're in it, but the moment you step out, the effect begins to fade. I've observed this phenomenon over decades of studying successful people. They don't rely on motivation. They understand a profound truth. Discipline is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. Consider the fundamental difference. Motivation is an emotional state, a temporary surge of energy and determination. It's valuable, certainly, but as fleeting as morning dew under a rising sun. Discipline, by contrast, is the decision to act regardless of how you feel in any given moment. Your brain is wired to form habits through consistent action. When you exercise every morning for 30 days straight, your nervous system begins to automate the behavior. You no longer debate whether you should do it. You simply do it as naturally as brushing your teeth. This is the neurological basis of achievement that motivation alone cannot provide. The truly successful among us understand They must create systems that don't require constant willpower. They arrange their environments to make disciplined action the path of least resistance. The writer doesn't wait for inspiration. She sits at her desk at the same time every day. The athlete doesn't train only when excited. He follows his program regardless of mood. The entrepreneur doesn't work only when feeling motivated. She completes essential tasks, whether energized or exhausted. Small, disciplined actions performed consistently create a compound effect that motivation could never match. Just as a single drop of water seems insignificant, yet over time can carve through solid stone, your daily disciplines reshape the landscape of your life. One page written daily becomes a book within a year. One sales call daily accumulates into a thriving business. 1 hour of study daily transforms you into an expert. I've discovered a beautiful paradox about discipline. The structure it provides actually creates freedom. Those who believe discipline is restrictive have misunderstood its nature. Discipline is simply deciding what you want most instead of what you want now. The pianist who practices scales religiously gains the freedom to play any piece beautifully. The professional who masters their craft gains the freedom of career options and financial independence. When motivation inevitably fades, and it always does, discipline carries you forward. On those days when you don't feel like showing up, discipline gets you there anyway. While your competition relies on fluctuating inspiration, your disciplined persistence creates an insurmountable advantage. Remember this: motivation is what gets you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. It's discipline that turns dreams into accomplishments, potential into accomplishments, potential into performance, and good intentions into tangible results. The life you desire, the one that might seem just beyond reach, isn't waiting for a stronger dose of motivation. It's waiting for the unflinching commitment to discipline that makes achievement inevitable. Lesson 3. Your attitude determines your altitude. The greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. As you think, so shall you become. This isn't mere philosophy, it's practical truth that has transformed countless lives throughout history. Your attitude is the lens through which you view every circumstance in your life. Two people may face identical situations. One sees walls, while the other sees doorways. The difference isn't in what happens to them, but in how they've disciplined their minds to respond. Consider for a moment what happens when an airplane takes off. If the pilot adjusts the nose of the aircraft upward by just a few degrees, the entire journey changes. The plane doesn't travel along the ground. It soars into the sky. Your attitude works precisely the same way. A slight adjustment in your thinking can completely transform your destination. The truly successful person understands that life responds not to what happens around them, but to their perception of those events. They've disciplined themselves to maintain an achievement-oriented mindset regardless of external circumstances. When rain falls, they don't curse the weather. They sell umbrellas. This disciplined attitude doesn't arrive through occasional bursts of motivation. It comes through constant vigilance over your thought patterns. Begin each morning by consciously choosing optimism. When problems arise, as they inevitably will, train yourself to immediately ask, what opportunity lies hidden within this challenge? A negative attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Many people wait for success to come before changing their attitude, but this sequence is backward. The disciplined individual changes their attitude first, knowing the results will naturally follow. Gratitude forms the foundation of a positive mental outlook. Take 5 minutes daily to write down 3 specific things you're thankful for. This simple discipline reprograms your mind to seek abundance rather than scarcity. When you're grateful for what you have, you'll find you have more to be grateful for. Your expectations play a crucial role in what you receive from life. When you habitually expect good things, your subconscious mind works tirelessly to bring those expectations into reality. Discipline yourself to maintain positive expectations even when evidence suggests otherwise. Remember, the evidence is only temporary. Your disciplined mindset determines the permanent outcome. The remarkable power of a disciplined attitude lies in its consistency. Anyone can be positive when circumstances are favorable. The truly successful person has trained themselves to maintain constructive thoughts, regardless of external conditions. This isn't naive optimism, it's strategic thinking that creates pathways where none appeared to exist. Begin today by taking complete responsibility for your mental attitude. Monitor your thoughts with the same care you'd give to any valuable possession. When negative patterns emerge, gently redirect them toward productive channels. This discipline, practiced daily, will elevate your life in ways motivation alone never could. Your attitude truly determines your altitude. Where will you choose to fly? Lesson 4. The law of cause and effect in your daily life. My friends, there is a fundamental truth that governs our universe. A law so absolute that it touches every aspect of our existence. This is the law of cause and effect. It works with perfect precision. Whether we acknowledge it or not, for every action, there is a corresponding reaction. For every seed planted, a specific harvest follows. Consider this immutable relationship in your daily life. The person you are today, your habits, your circumstances, your achievements, all result from causes you set in motion yesterday, last month, or years ago. Your life today is the effect of your past thinking and behavior. Your life tomorrow will be the effect of your disciplined actions today. There is no escaping this grand equation. While motivation might inspire you momentarily, only discipline ensures you plant the right seeds consistently. A farmer who plants corn cannot harvest wheat. Similarly, you cannot plant procrastination and reap productivity. You cannot sow criticism and reap encouragement. You cannot plant distraction and reap focus. The universe responds to what you actually do, not what you intend to do. Many people live in a state of wishful thinking. They blame circumstances, bad luck, or others for their harvest. If only my boss appreciated me more, they say. If only my boss appreciated me more, they say. If only I had better opportunities. If only the economy were different. But this pattern of thinking violates the law of cause and effect. It places responsibility outside yourself, when in truth you hold the power to plant different seeds. Discipline acknowledges this law and works with it, rather than against it. The disciplined person says, if I want a different outcome, I must create different causes. They understand that results never precede actions. The paycheck follows the work. The strength follows the exercise. The knowledge follows the study. There's another aspect of this law we must understand, the delayed harvest principle. Nature doesn't work on our preferred timetable. Plant a tree today and you won't enjoy its shade tomorrow. This delay between cause and effect tests our discipline most severely. In a world of instant gratification, few have the patience to continue planting without seeing immediate results. I encourage you to create a personal cause and effect inventory of your life. Examine your current results in health, wealth, relationships, and personal growth. Then trace backward to identify the causes that created these effects. Be brutally honest. Where discipline was applied, you'll find positive outcomes. Where discipline was lacking, you'll discover areas needing improvement. Remember, friends, the law of cause and effect operates with mathematical precision. It cannot be bargained with or avoided, but this shouldn't discourage you. It shouldn't discourage you. It should empower you. For if you understand that your disciplined efforts today will inevitably produce results tomorrow, you gain tremendous control over your destiny. The person who grasps this law no longer lives at the mercy of circumstance, but becomes the architect of their own future. And that is the quiet power that discipline offers you. A power that discipline offers you, a power that fleeting motivation simply cannot provide. Lesson 5. 5 hours that will transform your future. The greatest fortunes in America began with a simple decision, the decision to go the extra mile. While the masses clock in and clock out, watching the hands of time slowly drag them toward the weekend, the achievers among us understand a fundamental truth. Excellence isn't achieved during required hours, but during discretionary time. Consider this remarkable fact. Just 1 hour per day of disciplined study in your chosen field will set you so far apart from your competition that the comparison will be laughable. 1 single hour. That's merely 5 hours per work week invested in your future. Yet this small deposit, compounded over time, creates returns that stagger the imagination. You see, most people simply consume information randomly. A bit of news here, some entertainment there, whatever happens to cross their path. But the disciplined mind is selective. It understands that knowledge isn't created equal. Some information creates exponential returns, while other information merely passes the time. When you dedicate those 5 precious hours to the right knowledge, the kind that builds directly upon your core strengths and chosen direction, you tap into what I call the autodidact advantage. The self-educated person possesses a competitive edge that formal education alone cannot provide. They shape their learning around their specific needs rather than following a standardized curriculum. I've known countless men and women who transformed their economic and social standing, not through inheritance or luck, but through this simple practice. They selected their field, identified the masters within it, and systematically absorbed their wisdom through books, recordings, and direct observation. But here's where most people go wrong. They mistake information for wisdom. Information is merely knowing the facts. Wisdom is knowing what to do with those facts. When you study during those 5 hours, don't just highlight passages or memorize data. Ask yourself, how can I apply this knowledge immediately? What principle is at work here? How does this connect to what I already know? Create for yourself a personal curriculum. Identify the top 5 books in your field. Find the leading thinkers whose ideas shape your industry. Study their methods, their thinking patterns, their approaches to problems. Don't just read, extract. Pull out the principles that you can adapt to your unique circumstances. All great achievements in history came from ordinary people who simply outlearned everyone around them. Edison wasn't born knowing how to create the light bulb. Lincoln wasn't born understanding constitutional law. They dedicated themselves to those extra hours of study when others were satisfied with ordinary knowledge. The world belongs to learners, my friend. 5 hours per week of disciplined study will transform your future because knowledge, properly applied, has infinite returns. The seeds of greatness are planted in those quiet hours when you choose learning over leisure, growth over comfort. The harvest will come in time, and what a magnificent harvest it will be. Lesson 6. The quiet power of daily discipline. The most powerful forces in our universe often work silently, invisibly, yet with unstoppable momentum. Consider the ocean tides that reshape coastlines or the steady growth of mighty oak trees from tiny acorns. These natural phenomena demonstrate a truth that applies equally to human achievement, the quiet power of daily disciplines. Your life today is the sum total of your disciplines, or lack thereof. Every action you take, repeated day after day, creates the person you are becoming. Small hinges swing big doors. My friend, that seemingly insignificant decision to wake up 30 minutes earlier might appear trivial on any given morning, but multiplied across a year, it provides you with an additional 182 hours, nearly 8 full days of productive time that the masses never capture. The champion's morning ritual isn't complicated, but it's consistent. While others begin their day in reaction mode, responding to notifications, news, and noise, the disciplined individual takes command of those first golden hours. They invest in themselves through contemplation, planning, exercise, or learning. This simple discipline creates an unbridgeable gap between them and their competition. Your mind operates much like a fertile garden. What you plant in the morning hours takes root throughout your day. By establishing a ritual of positive input, whether reading inspirational literature, practicing gratitude, or visualizing successful outcomes, you program your subconscious mind for achievement. This programming, through the power of repetition, becomes your default operating system. The disciplined person understands that willpower is limited, but habits are permanent. They don't rely on fluctuating emotions to determine their actions. Instead, they create unshakable routines that continue regardless of how they feel. On days when motivation is high, they follow their disciplines. On days when motivation is low, they follow their disciplines. This consistency is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Consider the evening review, a powerful discipline practiced by Benjamin Franklin and countless successful people since. By objectively assessing your day's activities, questioning what went well and what didn't, you create a feedback loop of continuous improvement. This single discipline, performed for just 10 minutes before sleep, can dramatically accelerate your growth. Perhaps most powerful are what I call micro-disciplines, tiny actions requiring minimal effort yet producing maximum results. The discipline to pause before responding to criticism. The discipline to drink water before each meal. The discipline to express gratitude for 3 specific things daily. These seemingly insignificant practices demand little time but compound tremendously over the course of your life. The quiet power of daily disciplines isn't glamorous. It won't make headlines or draw applause. But while motivation, seeking crowds chase the excitement of new goals without the staying power to achieve them, the disciplined individual steadily climbs higher, like water cutting through stone, not through force, but through persistence. Your daily disciplines will carve a path to achievements others consider impossible. Remember, the disciplines that seem smallest often yield the greatest rewards. What quiet discipline will you begin today? Lesson 7. Turning problems into opportunities. Problems, obstacles, difficulties. These words send most people running in the opposite direction. But the disciplined mind sees what the average person cannot. Every problem contains the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. It's one of life's most fascinating paradoxes. Consider this truth. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified through fire. The finest steel is forged in the hottest furnace. In much the same way, your character and capabilities are formed through the challenges you face with discipline. The difference between the achiever and the average person isn't the absence of problems. It's their response to those problems. While most people complain about rain, farmers and gardeners use it to cultivate abundance. When you adopt a disciplined approach to problem solving, you follow a systematic process rather than an emotional reaction. You examine the problem objectively. You consider multiple solutions. You implement the best course of action regardless of how you feel in the moment. This disciplined approach transforms what appears to be a roadblock into a stepping stone. History overflows with examples of disciplined minds turning adversity into advantage. Thomas Edison's laboratory burned to the ground when he was 67 years old. Instead of lamenting his loss, he said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." Within 3 weeks, he was back in business. Within a year, his company was making record profit. Constraints and limitations often become the very catalysts for innovation. When resources are scarce, the disciplined mind becomes extraordinarily resourceful. The Wright brothers didn't have the education or funding of their competitors, but their disciplined approach to solving the problem of flight led them to success while better equipped rivals failed. You can train yourself to develop an opportunity mindset through daily practice. When facing a challenge, discipline yourself to ask, "What's good about this situation? How can I use this? What can I learn from this?" These questions redirect your mental energy from problem, dwelling, to solution, finding. The disciplined person actively seeks challenges rather than avoiding them, knowing that strength comes through resistance. Just as your muscles grow stronger when you subject them to the stress of exercise, your mental and emotional capacities expand when you deliberately engage with difficulties. Opportunity rarely announces itself with fanfare. It often comes disguised as an unwelcome guest. The disciplined eye sees beyond appearances to recognize the potential hidden within every challenge. When you consistently transform your problems into opportunities through disciplined thinking and action, you develop a resilience that cannot be broken by circumstances. You create a life where obstacles become the very building blocks of your success rather than barriers to it. This is the quiet power of discipline. Not the elimination of problems, but the transformation of them into the very fuel that propels you forward toward achievement. Lesson 8. The disciplined use of time. Time is the great equalizer of mankind. No matter who you are, wealthy or poor, educated or unschooled, young or elderly, you have exactly the same 24 hours each day as everyone else on this planet. What separates the achievers from the dreamers isn't having more time, but rather what they do with the time they have. Consider this remarkable fact. Each week contains 168 hours. Not 167, not 169, but precisely 168 hours. No one gets a minute more, and no one gets a minute more, and no one gets a minute less. The President of the United States has the same 168 hours as you do. The billionaire entrepreneur has the same 168 hours as you do. The Olympic gold medalist has the same 168 hours as you do. When I first realized this truth, it changed my entire perspective on achievement. If we all have the same amount of time, then time itself cannot be the determining factor in success. Rather, it must be how we use our time that makes all the difference. Look at your life as if it were a bank account, but instead of dollars, you're allocated 168 hours each week to spend. How are you investing these precious hours? Are you squandering them on activities that yield no return, or are you investing them in pursuits that compound and grow over time? Most people have never conducted a serious audit of how they spend their time. They wake up, react to whatever demands present themselves, and wonder why they never seem to make progress toward their most important goals. The disciplined person, however, accounts for their time with the same precision that a business accounts for its money. Start by tracking exactly how you spend your time for one full week. You'll likely be shocked to discover how much time disappears into the void of mindless activities. Scrolling through social media, watching television programs you don't even enjoy, or engaging in gossipy conversations that leave you feeling empty. Once you know where your time is going, you can begin to reallocate it according to your true priorities. This is where time blocking becomes essential. Rather than hoping you'll find time for important activities, you must schedule them explicitly. The most successful people I've known don't find time for important activities. They make time by deciding in advance how their 168 hours will be allocated. The focused hour technique can multiply your productivity dramatically. This involves setting aside blocks of time, typically 60 to 90 minutes, during which you work on one important task with complete concentration, free from all distractions. During these periods, turn off your phone, close your email, and inform others that you are not to be interrupted. You'll accomplish more in one focused hour than most people accomplish in an entire morning of fragmented attention. Perhaps the greatest enemy of disciplined time use is what I call the tyranny of the urgent. We constantly face demands that seem urgent, but are seldom important. The ringing phone, the incoming email, the colleague at your door, all seem to require immediate attention, but the disciplined person distinguishes between what is merely urgent and what is truly important. Remember, we all have the same 168 hours each week. The difference between achievement and mediocrity lies not in having more time, but in the disciplined use of the time we have. Lesson 9. Setting goals that actually materialize. Good evening. This is Earl Nightingale, and tonight we're going to discuss a principle so fundamental to success that missing it virtually guarantees failure. You see, most people drift through life without clear direction, hoping somehow they'll arrive at success. But success isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you aim for with precision. Goals that materialize aren't wishes or vague hopes. They're clear targets backed by disciplined action, the first rule of effective goal. Setting is specificity. Your mind cannot hit a target it cannot see. When you say, "I want to be successful," your brain has nothing concrete to work toward. But when you say, "I will increase my income by 25 within 12 months by mastering 3 new skills in my field," you've given your mind a clear destination. The disciplined goal setter understands that measurability is essential. You must be able to track your progress. This creates feedback that either reinforces your efforts or signals the need for adjustment. Without measurement, you're simply guessing whether you're moving forward. Write your goals down. This simple act transforms abstract thoughts into physical reality. There's something powerful about seeing your goals on paper. The act of writing engages more of your brain and begins the process of manifestation. I recommend keeping a small goal card in your pocket, a physical reminder of what you're working toward that you can review throughout the day. Now, here's where discipline separates dreamers from achievers. You must take daily action toward your goals regardless of how you feel. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you going. Each morning, identify the one action that will move you closest to your goal and complete it before anything else. This daily discipline compounds over time. Goals require deadlines. Without a time frame, there's no urgency, and without urgency, procrastination becomes the default. Set realistic but ambitious deadlines that stretch you without breaking you. A goal without a deadline is merely a dream. The most powerful goals align with your deepest values. When your goals reflect what truly matters to you, discipline becomes easier because you're pulled toward them naturally. Many people fail because they chase goals that belong to others, their parents, society, or peers, Your goals must be authentically yours. Break large goals into smaller milestones. This creates a series of victories that fuel your motivation and reinforce your discipline. Each small win proves that your system works and strengthens your belief in the process. Finally, expect obstacles and plan for them. The disciplined goal. Zetter isn't surprised or discouraged by challenges. They anticipate them and prepare accordingly. When obstacles arise, they're seen as part of the journey rather than reasons to quit. Remember, goals don't materialize through wishing or hoping. They materialize through clear definition and disciplined daily action. What you plant today determines what you harvest tomorrow. Your goals are the seeds of your future achievements. Plant them with care and tend to them with discipline. Lesson 10. The power of showing up every day. Life rewards those who simply show up. This truth may seem overly simplistic, but I've witnessed its profound impact throughout my years observing human achievement. The difference between those who succeed and those who merely dream isn't talent or luck. It's the disciplined commitment to showing up day after day, regardless of circumstances or feelings. Consider the writer who commits to putting words on paper each morning. Some days inspiration flows like a mighty river. Other days each word feels extracted through tremendous effort. Yet the disciplined writer shows up either way, understanding that the act of showing up itself is the victory. Over time, those daily sessions don't just produce a book. They transform the person into a writer. The miracle of compound effort works silently in your favor when you embrace this principle. I'm reminded of the story of the bamboo farmer who plants seeds and waters them daily for 4 years, with no visible results. Then suddenly, in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Was it the water in the 6th year that created this growth? No. It was the patient, disciplined nurturing during all those seemingly fruitless years. Your life responds to this same pattern. The salesperson who makes 5 calls daily, the artist who practices their craft for 30 minutes each morning, the student who reviews material consistently rather than cramming. These people tap into the awesome power of accumulated effort. While others seek shortcuts or wait for motivation, the disciplined person quietly builds momentum through consistent action. Remember, showing up means bringing your full presence to whatever you're doing. It's not merely physical attendance, but mental engagement. When you sit down to work, are you truly there? Have you eliminated distractions? Are you giving your best effort? The quality of your presence multiplies the value of showing up. One of the greatest challenges in maintaining this discipline is overcoming what I call the invisible barrier. This is the resistance we feel when we need to begin our work. It manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, or sudden interest in rearranging your bookshelf. Anything to avoid starting. The disciplined person recognizes this resistance, not as an enemy, but as a signpost. It's pointing toward the very thing you should be doing. Establish a trigger that signals it's time to show up. Perhaps it's putting on specific clothes, arranging your workspace in a certain way, or playing particular music. This ritual bypasses the decision-making process that often derails your discipline. You don't debate whether to show up. You simply follow your established pattern. Track your consistency visibly. Many successful people mark calendars with X's for each day they follow through on their commitment. The growing chain of X's becomes motivation itself. Breaking the chain feels more painful than pushing through resistance. The power of showing up compounds not just in results, but in identity. Eventually, you don't force yourself to practice piano. You're a pianist. You don't make yourself write. You're a writer. When discipline transforms into identity, consistency becomes natural. Remember this fundamental truth. Life's greatest rewards don't go to those with the most talent or resources, but to those who consistently show up when others don't. Make this your advantage. Lesson 11. The quiet victory of daily progress. The greatest achievements in human history weren't accomplished in dramatic bursts of inspiration. They were built through the quiet victory of daily progress. Consider the magnificent cathedrals of Europe that took generations to complete. Each stone was laid by craftsmen who might never live to see the finished masterpiece. Yet they showed up daily and contributed their small part to something greater than themselves. This is the true nature of disciplined living. When we examine the lives of those who have achieved remarkable things, we find a common thread. It isn't talent alone, nor is it some mystical stroke of good fortune. It's the humble commitment to daily advancement. The novelist who writes 500 words each morning before the world awakens. The athlete who completes one more repetition when every muscle fiber screams for rest. The entrepreneur who makes 5 more calls after everyone else has gone home. Progress, not perfection, must become your mantra. Too many of us are paralyzed by an idealized vision of flawless execution. We imagine that successful people move from triumph to triumph without struggle. Nothing could be further from the truth. The disciplined individual understands that progress often comes disguised as struggle. Remember this truth. Discipline isn't about avoiding failure. It's about responding correctly to it. When you face a setback, the undisciplined mind sees a signal to quit. The disciplined mind sees valuable feedback. Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times while inventing the light bulb. He simply found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. Each failure represented progress toward his ultimate goal. The quiet victory of daily progress requires that you establish clear measurements. Vague intentions produce vague results. If you wish to improve your physical fitness, don't merely say, "I'll exercise more." Instead, commit to walking 20 minutes each morning before breakfast. Specific actions yield specific results. Track your progress meticulously. The simple act of recording your daily disciplines creates accountability and provides a visual representation of your journey. There is profound psychological power in seeing the accumulation of your efforts. A calendar with an unbroken chain of daily actions becomes a powerful motivator to maintain your streak. Celebrate small victories along the way. The disciplined life isn't one of joyless duty. It's about finding satisfaction in steady advancement. When you complete your daily quota of work, acknowledge it. The momentum generated by recognizing your progress fuels tomorrow's efforts. The greatest distance in the world is the space between knowing and doing. Many people know what they should do, but disciplined people actually do it. They transform knowledge into action through daily commitment. The quiet victory isn't flashy. It won't make headlines. But day by day, as you honor your commitments to yourself, you'll discover something remarkable happening. The person you wish to become will gradually emerge through the accumulated power of disciplined progress. The cathedral of your life is built one stone at a time, with patience, persistence, and the quiet satisfaction of daily advancement. Lesson 12. Creating your disciplined legacy. In my years of observing human achievement, I've discovered that the most fulfilled people aren't merely concerned with what they accomplish today or tomorrow. They're building something that outlasts them. Your disciplined life creates ripples that extend far beyond your immediate circle, affecting generations to come. This is your legacy. Think about this. Every disciplined action you take today is planting a seed in the garden of tomorrow. When you consistently choose discipline over momentary comfort, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the lives of everyone around you. You become a lighthouse of possibility in a world where most drift aimlessly on the currents of circumstance. I remember meeting a gentleman in Chicago who had transformed his life through the power of disciplined savings. Starting with just $5 a week when he earned very little, he maintained this discipline for 40 years. What began as a small sacrifice grew into a fortune that not only secured his retirement, but established college funds for his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. His financial discipline created educational opportunities spanning 4 generations. Your legacy isn't limited to financial provisions. The disciplined way you approach problems, the structured manner in which you pursue goals, and your unwavering commitment to personal growth. These become the inheritance you leave behind. Children rarely listen to what we say, but they never fail to observe what we do. Your disciplined life becomes the most powerful teaching tool you possess. Consider how your daily disciplines shape those around you. When colleagues notice your consistent punctuality, your thorough preparation, and your steadfast reliability, it quietly challenges them to raise their standards. Without saying a word, your disciplined example speaks volumes. The beauty of a disciplined legacy is that it compounds over time. The habits you form today become the character traits that define you tomorrow. Eventually, these traits become so ingrained that they appear effortless to others, though you know the deliberate practice that forged them. This is when your influence reaches its peak, when discipline has transformed from something you do to something you are. Legacies aren't created through occasional bursts of brilliance or temporary periods of motivation. They're built through thousands of small, consistent actions taken day after day when no one is watching. It's the unseen disciplines that create the visible results others will remember. As you move forward, ask yourself, what discipline patterns am I establishing that will benefit others long after I'm gone? Perhaps it's your commitment to lifelong learning, your persistent optimistic outlook, or your unwavering integrity. Whatever disciplines you've cultivated, recognize their power to echo through time. Your disciplined life isn't just about achieving your goals. It's about establishing a standard that inspires others to reach higher, dig deeper, and persist longer. This is the ultimate achievement, creating a legacy of discipline that motivation alone could never produce. This is your gift to the future.